Hello, Robbie Susan Chandler here from RobbieSusansCardsandCrafts.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Quincy, Florida, right outside Tallahassee, Florida. And today I'm here to share with you how to use the Layers of Beauty mask to make this beautiful rose card. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love this mask. It makes such a realistic rose. Oh, and by the way, I do have classes in my home. If you live in the area, I'd love for you to come join me. So this is the page that this sets on, and it's $56.50 US money, dollars, and it includes this gorgeous stamp set, a set of dies, and the 5 masks used to make the rose. So let's get started and let me show you how to make this beautiful rose card. Now on the inside I have stamped the rose again in crumb cake and stamped Celebrate You in cherry cobbler. So let's start out with our pieces. Let me lay this right up here. Okay, our base is thick basic white, 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. I always use the thick white on my card bases because it's very sturdy, a nice weight cardstock, and it really gives your card a more professional look when it's sturdy like that. The basic white is good. In fact, that's what I used for this piece. Just a plain basic white, and it's 4 by 5 1/4. But it's, you know, a little thinner, but it's okay for layering. And this piece, like I said, it's 4 by 5 1/4. I embossed with the cute crochet embossing folder. Let me bring this up so you can see the design. I really like it. It's not an in-your-face there kind of design. I feel like it's a little more subtle and a good background design for your card. Okay, so that's our base and our first layer, and I'm going to do all the front pieces first. And then for my sentiment, this section, this piece right here, I used the dies Unbounded Love to cut this green piece, and to cut the green piece again, it's this die. Then I cut it again to cut out the center because I wanted the center white. And then I just adhered this to the green piece because I wanted to pop it up a little bit taller. And I put it down on my card, and then I put the frame down around it. So that way and this is actually Shaded Spruce, framed my sentiment, which I like. So it's this die from Unbounded Love. Alright, and on the back I actually have the Layers of Beauty dies in this box. And the one we're going to use today is this one because it cuts out our rose after we get it finished. Okay, so we've got our card base, we've got our greeting on it, and on the inside I have my rose that I stamped in crumb cake, and that was from our Layers of Beauty stamp set. And then I stamped the Celebrate You out of this set, Adoring Hearts, and it's stamped in cherry cobbler. Now my birthday wishes on the front is also stamped in cherry cobbler, and it's from Nested Friends. It's this birthday wishes right here. So that's all the stamp sets I used. So let's get started on this, on our rose. We've got all our card base. We just need our rose for the front, and we'll have a complete card. Alright, so I stamped on a 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 piece of basic white the rose from the stamp set. This big one that we saw earlier. And I stamped it in Versamark and embossed it with gold embossing powder and heated it up. So this is our base we're going to work with. Now the first thing you need to do when you're working with mask is tape this piece down. And I want to tape it this way. So let me tape this down to my grid sheet here. Alright, I'm going to tape this corner, and this is going to stay taped down through all 5 of the masks. So you don't take this piece up until you're completely through and you're ready to cut it. Alright, so here's mask 1, and they have the little numbers right up there. You see the 1? And what I've done, I've covered up, well I'm going to pull this loose because I need it. But you're going to match this up, and I found that one easy way is that little group of flowers. If you put it right up there on those flowers, it's easier to match up. But I'm going to twist it around. Alright, there's my roses. And here's my bottom rose. I want to get it in there. And these little pieces right here, you want those lined up. Oh, that looks good. And I would advise too, go ahead and putting your tape on your mask to begin with. So all you have to do is just pop it down like that. Now I'm going to cover up these flowers because I want them a different color. But you know what? Let's do them first. And I'm going to tell you the reason I want to do them first is because I'm using Lemon Lolly and Real Red on this mask. Let's put this right here. Lemon Lolly and Real Red. And I want to start with the Lemon Lolly so the red ink doesn't get on my dauber. So I'm using a dauber, and I pick up a little Lemon Lolly, and I'm just going to start dabbing right there. Dab, dab, dab. And you can do a little swirling to get a little darker. There we go. All right, I'm going to move to this one. And then down to this little group. And see, if you do your red first, when you start doing this, you will end up picking up some of the red off of this stencil and messing up your dauber or compromising your dauber. So that's our Lemon Lolly, first color. Now let's cover up these flowers. One, and I'm just going to pop that down. Let's stay down. Sometimes when you put your ink on here, the tape doesn't want to stick, so let's hope for the best here. All right, please stick. There we go. All right, now we're going to start with our Real Red. Now my advice to you on this layer is if you want your rose a really deep color, then you want to sponge or put the brush on in a really, really deep color here. If you don't, you'll end up with kind of a pinky color rose instead of a deep red one. I'm going to go really deep on this one. Let's get these little places here. All right, I'm going to hold this down while I sponge in here. I keep calling it sponging, but it's actually brush blending, isn't it? I said just go deeper and deeper. Now we have another step to do that I'm just about to have forgotten about, but I'll have to show you in a minute. It's marking, making the marks, they call registration marks, so you can know where to put the next, know where to put your next stencil down. Okay, there we go. Change hands for a minute. I'm left-handed, so I'm not sure I can do this brush with my left hand, but we're trying. Here we go. All right, it's nice and dark. Now, I'm going to move that up or over here, because here's my registration marks up here at the top. See the little, see the little notch there? I'm going to mark that, and I have found that it works better if you go ahead and mark these corners. Then you can really lay the next one down easier instead of just worrying with the notches. Okay, so here's our mask number one. Let's pick it up, see what we got. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Oh, I did get a little red on my others, but I'm not going to worry about that. That'll just be part of this card. All right, here's number two. You see the two there? So we're going to use Cherry Cobbler and Wild Wheat. So I'm going to lay this down and match up my corners. When you match the corners up, see, it just lays on there really nice. That matched up great. Okay, so let's take that down. Now I'm going to do these flowers first, and these are in Wild Wheat. And they're far enough away, I'm not going to tape them down because I'm going to use a smaller brush for the Cherry Cobbler. So I'm going to start with the Wild Wheat, and let's just dab some of that on here. Some down here. And I want to hit this one right here. I don't want a whole lot of this. This is just to give your flower that second tone. Okay, I think that's plenty for that one, and we're going to use this again, so I'm going to lay that there. All right, now let's go to our Cherry Cobbler. And this is like the second level of your rose. So I'm going to start right there and get that. We'll get these. And then you just want to start And you have to be careful with these little notch things, parts of the rose. I found if you swirl down, it works better. Because if you swirl up on that one, it wants to go under that piece and you don't get quite the look that you're trying to achieve. Okay, this being cherry cobbler, it shows up dark pretty quick. All right, I think that's good. Okay, let's take a look and see what we've got here. Lift it up. All right, can you see the second layer in there? That's our next layer. All right, now let's go to number 3. And this is another part of the rose. Match up my corners, my notch. Oh, and that looks really good right there. We're actually going to be doing the center of those little flowers this time. That's good. Right there. All right, so let's go back with our wild wheat again. This time it's Blackberry Bliss and wild wheat. And I'm just going to hit these centers here. And this one here, and this one here. Okay, now we're going to use Blackberry Bliss. And this is going to really deepen up the center of these roses and give them a lot more dimension and depth. Of course, you want to stay away from your little yellow centers there, but with the smaller brush, it's easier to do. Okay, let me take a peek, see if it's dark enough. I could go a touch darker. Well, let's see. Yeah, I think I'm good with that. All right, so now we're through with the rose part of it, and we're going to work on the leaves. So let's pick this up. Hey, look at there, you see the different areas in there of the rose. Now I found that this next step, when you start putting the leaves on, it really makes the flower really pop. All right, so we're going to match up the corners, and this time you're doing just leaves, so you want to make sure all of your leaves are showing. Let's see, let me look at my corners. There we go. Yeah, that looks good right there. I think I'll go with that. There we go. Now this time I used shaded spruce. I wanted a really bright, rich green, and shaded spruce I feel like is one of those. So just start sponging your shaded spruce on there. And are you ready for the reveal? Here we go. Ooh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I love, I never have been much of a stencil person, but these last sets of stencils that Stampin' Up's come out with, or masks, whatever you want to call them, I think are really beautiful ones and really make some really nice images. So now we're going to cut this. So let me turn it around. And let me bring my Big Shot up. Normally I don't like to use my Big Shot in these videos, but I felt like today we needed to, so let me bring it over. Here we go. And don't look at my dirty plates. I have dirty plates, but I use them a lot. All right, line this up, and I like to use a little piece of painter's tape or you could use washi tape to hold this in place, because you know we did a lot of work on this to have our die slip and cut it in the wrong place. That would just be a heartbreaker. So I'm going to make sure it's right before I start cutting. I think I'm happy with that. Yeah, that looks good. All right, let's pop this on. And let me line up my plates. If you don't line those plates up, you're just going to be fighting the machine. Alrighty, there we go. Let's get this out of the way. Alright, let's pop it out. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And I love the way the gold embossing powder really picks up the outline and gives it a pretty look. Okay, so all we got to do now is pop it on the front of our card. Let's do that. And I used dimensionals, so I wanted it popped up some. And I just kind of like to hit the edges and then a few in the middle just so that it doesn't sag. Anytime I have a big image, I feel like I need one or two in the middle. Let's put one there and one right there. That ought to hold it. As you know, as we say, as a demonstrator, we've got to sell those dimensionals, so let's use them. But they really do really make your images pop more when they're kind of up a level or two. If everything's all on the same level, it just doesn't have the same look. All right, I'm going to turn it this way and let that go over on my cinnamon a little bit. I think that's perfect right there. All right, look at that. Now, isn't that a beautiful card? And that really, those masks really aren't hard to use. The hard spot probably is figuring out what colors you want to use. So here's the front, open it up, and there's our inside. So I hope you like this card. I hope you'll try to make it. And would you please like my video and subscribe to my channel. And at the bottom there's a link to my blog. If you'll go over there and you can subscribe to my blog and get my newsletters whenever I print one or send one out. And if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. So until next time, happy crafting.